Hey everybody, welcome back to Brainiac Baseball's 1969 Seattle Pilots What If Scenario. Our season came to a crashing halt yesterday as we lost Game 7 to the Baltimore Orioles. You'll see right here that we lost 5-2 yesterday, and the Orioles will go on and play in the World Series just as they did in real life in 1969. And their opponent will be the Houston Astros, who just beat out the Mets, who were the other playoff team in 1969. So almost had exactly what we should have had with the sim. And I guess there's some credit that the game deserves for almost knocking it out of the park as far as having the right matchup in the World Series. So what we're going to do today is we're going to advance one day at a time to wrap up the World Series. We'll find out who the winner is for the 1969 World Series in our sim. And then we will advance to the free agent period, where we'll have to make our decisions regarding our players who have expiring contracts. So either players who are going to free agency or players that are going to arbitration. And I've already kind of looked them over last night and made my decisions in my head. So we'll see how that plays out. And then we'll just call it a season. We'll wrap it all up. And when we come back in the fall, once we've completed the 1984 Detroit Tigers season replay that we're playing, we will advance to the 1970 season, in which we will keep the Seattle Pilots in Seattle. We will make the stadium bigger. It's only a 7,500 seat stadium right now, but we're going to expand it to a 35,000 seat stadium, and we may very well change the dimensions. So we're basically, flying free after we wrap up this series for 1969. When we come back, it'll be whatever we want it to be, which is going to be fun, I think. We're in uncharted territory. So before we get started, it would take too long for me to just say thank you to each individual person who spent time watching this series. There are so many of you now, and I'm incredibly grateful. And for those who spend any moment at all watching my videos or listening to me ramble on like a moron, I'm very grateful. I invite you into my world, and I let you hear my stories and tell you what's going on in my personal life, and that makes it fun. It's almost like we're having a conversation, even though it's very one-sided. But anytime you comment on my channel, I try to respond. I do the best I can to keep up with everyone, and I would feel terrible if I left somebody off at this point, but there's many of you that have been here right from the very beginning, and thank you all so much. For those of you who want to continue to watch some of my other videos, I'll show you really quick here. We have the final voting will take place. Today is the last day to get in on voting for the pitching MVP and for the offensive MVP, and then later on this afternoon, I'm sorry, I should say tomorrow, to be fair, I'll take the two top vote getters for each one, and you all can vote on the overall Seattle Pilots MVP for 1969. If you need more entertainment, if you go to the playlist page on the Brainiac Baseball Card Breaks homepage, you'll see all the different playlists that we have here available. We have the 1984 Detroit Tigers season replay going. 69, of course, is just wrapping up. You can catch up on some of those games if you are so desired. We also have the 1983 season here, the 82 season. Down here we have the 81 season and the 80 season. If you're watching the 80 season, I would just say just go right to game 64. Those first 63 games are kind of rough. I was just kind of figuring out how I wanted to make the presentation. So you please skip ahead if you really truly want to. And then we have all the sports cards going here too. We have the Fairfield collection. Those are crappy, but I enjoy doing those. because you get a lot of cards from the 80s in there and from the 90s. The Quick Hits collection, which is videos that are 5 minutes or less, thereabout. Or you can just go to the individual playlist and see basketball, hockey, baseball, or football. We have the I Got This collection, which is my mailbag, things I've purchased off Mercari or off of eBay, or maybe at my local card shop or flea markets or whatever. Time Travel Tuesday, which is all cards from the 80s and 90s or earlier, opening up packs and boxes of cards. And then finally, here's the Brainiac Baseball Card Break main playlist where we have everything in there for cards. Everything is all in one playlist. So I just wanted to share that in case you need more entertainment now that the 69 season is on the verge of being completed. So, okay, let's go ahead and get started here. We are going to, as I said, just play 1 day in advance. If you look at the calendar here, we are actually on October 10th, which is right here. I believe we have to play 1 day to get to the actual playoffs going. We're not going to play the actual individual game. We're just going to simulate as we advance 1 day. We're on the 11th, and we'll see what happens in the 69 World Series. I mean, I think the Orioles have the better offense, and I definitely think the Mets have the better pitching staff. So that's what's going to be interesting here. Not the Mets, I mean the Astros have the better pitching staff. So there we go. As the game saved itself, the Astros win 11-3 in Game 1, so they come out swinging. And they're at home, so this is in the Astrodome. They put up 11 runs in the Astrodome. Okay, there's Game 1. Let's see Game 2. Game 2, the Astros win. Are they going to sweep the Orioles? That would be insulting to our team. Because, hell, we could have probably got swept by the Astros. So we're going to have a day off. So we're going to advance a day as the teams fly to Baltimore. Let's go ahead and play game number 3. And the Orioles hold serve. It's 2-1 now. The Orioles win at home, 5-2. We got 2 more games here in Baltimore. Will they tie it up here in Game 4? They do. Okay. So the Orioles won 6-3. So it's tied up at 2. I know this is riveting to watch, but this is how I do it. I'm only showing you the things that I actually do before I ever started making videos. This is not something that I'm putting on just for you guys. This is exactly what I would do. The Orioles have swept them at home. They won that game, Game 5, 12-3. So the Orioles pitchers have kept the Astros to 3, 6, 7, 8. So 9 runs since the first game. Pretty impressive. Now we're going to have a day off as they fly back to Houston. And let's go ahead and see, can the Orioles close it out here in Game 6? Oh, it's gonna save and annoy us here for a moment. But I'm glad that it does this because I don't know. So many times I feel like the game might shut down on me, not because of the game, but because of my my laptop probably needs to be updated. So the Astros shut out the Orioles in Game 6, and the series is tied at 3. Here we go. Let's wrap it up. Let's see what happens here. We're going to play Game 7 right now. The winner is going to be the Astros. So that is amazing that the World Series held serve all the way through. The home team won every game. The Astros won 4-3. And they are the World Series champions in 1969. So what we're going to do here is take a look at the transactions. Well, I guess we could look at the headline news, right? And this should advance. Houston clobbers Baltimore. Nationally champion. Yeah, okay. So nationally champion Astros win 1-0. McNally helps the Orioles take Game 3. So because he pitched in Game 7 against us, I guess McNally didn't make a start until Game 3. Phoebus wins Game 4. 12-3, the Orioles clobber the Astros in Game 5. That jerk, Jim Campbell, he had the home run in Game 7 that destroyed our hopes of the World Series. Astros take one more step toward the world champion. There's Don Wilson. And the world champion Astros beat the Orioles in 7. There's Larry Dierker. And Jim Wynn had a hit. 4 walks. He walked 4 times. So that updates the Brainiac Baseball Daily Beat. Let's take a look at transactions, and we'll see how everything went since the ALCS. So I did not show this after yesterday's game. I guess maybe I just got peeved and I forgot about it. But, oh my gosh, we have some crazy stuff going on here. Oh my gosh. Well, okay, look. Willie Stargell won the ALCS MVP. Doug Rader for Houston won the NLCS MVP. Bubba Morton retired, but holy crap. Look at this. Bob Watkins threw a no-hitter in Game 1 of the World Series. There's Bob Watkins right there. He threw a no-hitter in Game 1 of the World Series. That is unbelievable. There it is, October 12th. That is a first for me. I don't think I've ever seen that. Oh, wow, Willie Stargell got injured. And so he only played in 4 of the 7 games, and he did not get a single hit. Whoa, that's crazy. All right, so that probably sunk the Orioles' chances. And then we have 5 retirements. Ken Boyer, a longtime player in the for the Cardinals, and he amassed 2,143 hits, including his 7 hits for the Dodgers. Okay, and then we had some schlebs. Julio Navarro, he got into 21 games for Atlanta this season. And then Bob Tiefenauer, I guess is how you pronounce it. He pitched 32 games at age 40 for the Cubbies. And then we had Ernie Bowman. He got a 1 game. He went 2 for 4 and he retired. And Ed Bauta for the Yankees. He pitched 3 games and retired as well. Okay, so the World Series MVP was Don Wilson. I mean, he went 23-3 in the regular season, and 1-1 in the World Series, 3-2 overall. And then you can see here all the players who got a World Series ring. And we'll just scroll on down. And then also there was 1 retirement at the end here, Jim Davenport, a third baseman who played in 1 game. He went 2 for 4 for the Giants, and that was it. Okay, well, I guess all that is left to do now is play until the free agency period. This is going to take a few moments to calculate. So we're going to do that, right? There's nothing else we need to do here. No. Okay, so playing until the free agency period. This is going to take a moment. So we do have several players that are whose contracts are up that could go to free agency, and we have several players that are going to arbitration. Because we were in it almost all the way through, normally I would have just traded off some of these players who we would not have re-signed. We would have just tried to get something good for them and then rebuild for next year. But because we were in it all the way through, we decided to go for it. So it's not something I normally do. I typically try to get rid of these guys. So here we go. First player is Joe Pepitone. And he's asking for 3 years and $110,000. He's already age 29. He's basically like tripling his salary at age 29 for a guy that's rated 75. Let's quickly look at his scouting. He did have 9 home runs for us. He batted .245, and his OPS was over 700. In the playoffs, he went 4 for 11. We can play him in right field. We can play him in left field. We did do that, as you can see here. We also started him at first base, which I don't think we need to. We have so many first basemen now. I would like to keep Joe Pepitone. I'm just not sure I want to spend that money on him. We could offer him less, of course. Why don't we skip him and come back to him? Okay, here's Rich Rollins. Now, Rich Rollins is willing to take a pay cut, even though he was the best hitter on our team. He had 132 hits. He was injured. He missed a bunch of games. His OPS was over 700, which is pretty good for this era. He only had 8 home runs. Didn't walk much. He did not strike out much. And in the playoffs, he went 7 for 28 and 2 doubles. Defensively, he was pretty bad. I mean, his defensive range and WAR was borderline crippling at times in the field. A .927 fielding percentage. And, we're dealing with George Brett in the 84 league right now, who's on pace to have 30 errors or more. So we know that this is not all that bad. I think what we're going to do for Rollins is even though this is a fair price for him, I don't want to have him for 4 years. So we are going to release Rich Rollins to a free agency, and we will see if we can't re-sign him at a much cheaper rate for less years. Or we may lose him, so we are going to release him. That means we do not have a third baseman other than Don Kessinger. Okay, Jerry May is going to arbitration. He was making $14,000. We're going to lowball him, but I do want to keep him. So I don't feel like I'm lowballing him. I'm giving him a raise. We're going to give him a $7,000 raise if you want to see his scouting. He didn't play all that much for us, but when he did, he was really good. And he hits lefties amazing, right? 444 in the regular season, 20 for 45. I know he won't do that next year, but we'll give him a little bit of a raise to be our backup again next year. He might even become our starter. Who knows? So we're going to submit the offer for Jerry May, and we win arbitration. So we save a few bucks there, and we have our catcher back. Okay, now, Gary Sutherland, wow. He is going from $14,000 to $34,000, and he does kind of deserve it. Now, his rating is horrible, and I imagine it's probably only going to go, well, he might stay the same, he might go down, but he had the most doubles on the team. He batted over 300, although we used him in a platoon scenario, giving him all the bats versus left-handed pitchers. So he did really well in that regard. He only struck out 12 times, and he walked 30 times. He had a .753 on-base percentage. And defensively, he was better than you thought. He had a 10.7 range and had a 1.2 win share defensively. So despite having poor ratings at second base and poor ratings here, he did well. He did really well. He did great, in fact. So you know what? I'm going to lowball him. That's what I do. But we're going to give him 30 grand. He definitely deserves more than Jerry May. Let's see what the game decides. Oh, they think that it was fair. So a 1-year deal. We have to keep in mind that we won't be expanding our stadium. We're going to have more revenue next year. So we can afford to pay. Bill Robinson, he pretty much won his game 6 of the playoffs. He got 9 at-bats in the ALCS, considering that we almost never even played him. But he was kind of our hot bat going into the playoffs. He batted .283 for us. He only had 1 home run, and that was in his very first at-bat as a pilot. He went deep, and then he never had another extra base hit. Well, there's no way in hell he deserves that much money. So we're going to lowball him. Now we'll give him $20,000. That's $1,000 less than Jerry May, but I think the game is going to side with him in this arbitration. Yeah, that sucks. Yeah. Now here is here is Don Kessinger, and this guy just absolutely was horrible. He couldn't hit. We were trying to find someone to play shortstop when we traded for him from the Cubbies. And he was not a starter for the Cubs. When we traded for him, he was kind of like a backup guy, so the Cubs already knew that he was not great. And I'm like, well, you know, he's got to be good enough defensively to make him worthwhile to start him at short. And even if he doesn't hit, at least he's going to play good defense. And then he just pooped all over shortstop position. We used him at third base. He was bad. He had a negative WAR, despite that being a position where he's supposed to be decent at. At shortstop, he was in the positive. We played him at second base for a couple of games. He was not good there either. And so, anyway, what all this amounts to is that we are going to release him. We're not paying him a dime. Bye-bye. And, I mean, yes, we could re-sign him as a utility guy, but we've got to have somebody in AAA that can do the exact same thing. Okay, here's where things get a little bit complicated. We've got the big guns coming up now. We've got Jerry Stevenson, who was making $14,000, and now he wants to make $128,000. And I suppose, it's only for a year, but I suppose he deserves it. He was our best pitcher in the playoffs. He started 3 games. And he went 1-1 with a 1.35 ERA in 13 1/3 innings pitched. He had a good season, career highs in just about everything. He led the team in strikeouts. A really good job by him. And so we're going to lowball him. We're going to try to save some of that money that we had to pay Bill Robinson. All right, how about $115,000? Yes, there we go. So we saved that Bill Robinson money there. Thank you for your service, Jerry Stevenson. Okay, now it's Gene Brabender. Mean Gene. This is a guy who was our ace all year, and then he just kind of fell apart. He pitched 188 innings, and that's also considering that he missed a month due to injury, and then he just started walking everybody. That was bad. And then in the playoffs, he was useless. You can see here, almost a 10 ERA, 8 walks. I mean, just terrible. So I think we're going to pay him because we got to have him. And we have to keep in mind next year that we may need to limit his innings somehow. And so we're going to lowball him. That should be my nickname, is lowball, which is probably not something you want your friends to call you. We're going to call it at 145. And we get him at 145. Well, this is easy. They're making it easy. Okay, so now we're back to Joey Pep. Oh, man. Do we cut Joey Pep and try to re-sign him for less years? Let's see if we can come to an amicable agreement here. I would give Joey Pep 2 years at $95,000 And what that would mean is we would have to utilize him more than we did. Let's see if they're willing to go that. Submit. We need a bit more to make the numbers work. 3 oh god, okay, so they're not even taking this seriously. So we're gonna release him, and we'll try to re-sign him. And we just re-signed 2 right fielders already. But I would prefer to have Joey Pep over the other ones. But we're not going to pay him to be a 4th outfielder and a backup first baseman. So we're going to release him. Yes, is that everybody? Okay, that's it. So now we're going to. Okay, well, we're here. Let's take a look at who is a free agent. I like to sort them by how much money they're asking for. And there doesn't seem to be very many players that are free agents. You got to keep in mind a lot of these are all draft picks that didn't get drafted. So as far as the actual pitchers are concerned, there's only 3 pitchers available. Jack Fisher, who is not very good. Jorge Rubio, who is good, and he's a restricted free agent. So if you sign him, the team that he was on, I think it was the Yankees, gets an additional draft pick at the end of the first round, and then Fred Gladding and his X-ray specs. He had a good year, despite not having a good rating. So does anybody want these pitchers? The Phillies are looking at Jack Fisher, if you can see right down here. Jorge Rubio. Nobody's looking at Rubio, and nobody's looking at Gladding. And I don't think any of these other guys. Yeah, I mean, nobody. Okay, let's look at the hitters. Now, this is awesome for me. We need a third baseman, and Jim Ray Hart's out there, and I'm a big Jim Ray Hart fan. This is a guy totally underrated in his time. 31 home runs last year and 102 RBIs. I mean, who couldn't use that? Not great defensively, and that is a problem. But, yeah, Jim Ray Hart would be a target for sure for us. Currently, nobody's looking at him, so we might be able to wait him out a little bit. And you know I love Bill Freehan. He, University of Michigan, head baseball coach, and longtime Detroit Tiger. The Tigers unloaded him to the Dodgers, and he barely played. I will almost tell you right now, that's a guarantee signing. I'm not going to do it now. I'll do it. You can all be surprised next year at the end of when we start the next season. Jim Fregosi of Baltimore is a free agent, shortstop. The Expos is looking at him. We have Ken McMullen, another third baseman. How's his defense? Really good. Maybe we get the cheaper version of McMullen over Hart and take the defense and whatever else he can give us offensively. Then we got Ron Hunt, and then here's our 2 guys. It's Rich Rollins and Don Kessinger and Joe Pepitone. We got Ernie Banks at the end of his career. I mean, in this game, not in real life, of course. But he's rated a 71. He got traded to Oakland, and he did terrible, and they put him in the minors, and, I mean, it was tough to watch. Clay Dalrymple, we saw him pinch hit a lot for Baltimore. Jesus Alou, Fred Whitfield, and then we have all of the schlubs. And I say that affectionately because some of these guys are good. I mean, players that I like. And then these are all draft picks that didn't get chosen in the 1969 draft. And then there's a couple of people at the end of their career, like Luis Aparicio and Woody Woodward, Ray Oyler. Those are all guys that are at the end of their careers. So So those are the players that are available. Not a lot, but there is what we need. We could take a catcher, we could take a third baseman, and hope that some of our minor leaguers have improved. Pitching wise, none of those three pitchers interest me at all. Maybe this Frank LaCourte will. He's only 18 years old, 19 when we go to play the next season. Okay, so we're going to take a look at transactions. And you'll see what happened since the World Series ended. Oh, and we'll also have the leaders and the who won the award. So we're going to reveal that right now. We're going to do it like one at a time here. Oh, Fred Glading was on Houston. That's why and he's a free agent now. So he got his World Series ring. And the American League Cy Young Award goes to Dave Boswell. That's not much of a surprise. 22-6, 3.01 ERA, and he absolutely kicked our ass every time we played him. I don't think we beat him once. Yeah, I mean, he went on a tear trying to get Minnesota past us in the standings. Congrats to Dave Boswell, the MVP, just as you would expect. Willie Stargell, unfortunately, got injured in the playoffs. Did he get injured in the season, too? No. Oh, because they platooned him in left field. That's also part of it, which is dumb, but it kept him healthy, and he still won the MVP. So how can you complain? Wait, what's happening now? Did I hit something? Wait, where did it go? That's weird. It was just there, now it's not. Okay, well, we're gonna take a look at it anyway. Okay, so here's all the players, the side extensions and whatever. I mean, this is not that interesting to me. So we're just going to flip through it. We're looking for retirements, and I mean, it looks like everybody. That's why there's no free agents. Everybody just got re-signed by their own team. That's pretty common back then, right? There wasn't even free agency back then. The way there is now, of course. Looking for big ones like Don Wilson and Larry Dierker, Joe Morgan. Those guys all re-signed for big bucks. Sam McDowell. Scrolling. Dave Boswell, $607,000. There's all the Mets re-signing. 1 and 2 year extensions. So these are like arbitrations, I guess, right? No, this is just people extending contracts. Major league contracts. Oh man, do I have to go in and fix all these? Son of a bitch. I do have to go in. Damn, I hate this game. How does it not switch it to a major league deal? That is such poop. Okay. Here's the people that lost arbitration and won arbitration. This is not all that exciting either. It's really only interesting if there's like trades and that kind of stuff going on. Okay, here we go. We're back at it here. I don't know what happened before, but now we're in a different order altogether. Okay, so we know Stargell won the MVP. Nolan Ryan won the National League MVP, and he won the Cy Young Award. So we'll take a look at him here. 24-7, a 189 ERA. He threw 300 innings pitched, struck out 314. He even kept his walks under control, which is not something that happened in real life. Opponents batted 171. He had 16 complete games, 6 shutouts, and 2-0 in the NLCS. So he did his part for the Mets, despite Houston winning. So he was the National League MVP and Cy Young Award winner. Gold Glove goes to Tommy John as a pitcher. Catcher is John Roseboro. Mike Epstein of the Senators gets first base. Second base is Frank Quilici. Third base is Bob Bailey of the Yankees. He played for 3 teams. Ed Brinkman, another Gold Glover for the Senators. In the outfield, we have Roy White, Jose Cardinal, and Reggie Jackson. What? All right. In the National League, the pitcher was Doc Ellis, tripping balls out there. Johnny Edwards at catcher for the Astros. Bob Robertson. Wait, isn't Bob Robertson Dr. Strangeglove? I thought that was his nickname. No? Oh, no, I'm thinking of Dick Stewart. Okay, I'm sorry. I was thinking of Dick Stewart. Dave Campbell of the Pirates. He got traded over there from Detroit, right? Yeah. And then he won the Gold Glove. Coco LaBoy. And shortstop is Larry Boa. Bake McBride, Johnny Grubb, and Johnny Callison. Cool. American League Rookie of the Year, it's Jeffrey Vollweiler, a guy who never pitched in the majors. And he walked 20 more batters than he struck out. Interesting. National League, it's Bobby Darwin of the Dodgers. Oh, this is bullshit. Yeah, this pisses me off. He's actually a batter in real life, and the game thinks he's a pitcher. And then not only that, did he pitch great, but he also won Rookie of the Year. I mean, it's just so dumb. All right. Somebody named Jack Damaska, retired. Does he have a card? There he is, a one-year wonder. And then we had Lou Johnson of California. He retired. Dick LeMay retired. All these guys played. Larry Sherry, he retired. He did not pitch at all for the White Sox. Choo Choo Coleman is retiring. There's Choo Choo, catcher for the Mets. And Dick Lines. That's embarrassing when you have Dick Lines on your team. Okay. All right. So there you have it, guys. I think that concludes our team. Let's take a quick look at our roster now that we've released a few players. Yeah, we don't have a third baseman, so the game is pulling up Greg Pryor, who's 18 years old. So we do have to sign a third baseman. And a right fielder would probably be Bill Robinson at this point. Danny Walton could make the team. We could use Mike Keegan in right field. So we have some options if we weren't to sign anybody. But we will. Pitching, go back to a five-man rotation. We'll have Gelnar back. We'll have Bob Meyer back in time for spring training. They're both injured. We need another year of seasoning for Dick Ruthven and Dennis Leonard, who we just drafted. So they'll be ready, a couple more years. Maybe we call them up next year in a September call-up. We almost should sign a handful of those minor league pitchers. They'll be on a one-year deal, but we can at least stock our bullpen up. Okay, guys, I don't really know what else to show you. I think that's going to wrap it up for us for this year. It was a lot of fun. This game is so frustrating, and I guess in a way I'm grateful that it allows me to get some of my aggression out. And you guys get to feel the brunt of it. I hope it's entertaining. When I get angry and emotional during these games, it's real. I'm not faking it. It pisses me off. It's like you dedicate all your time to play a game, especially when you're playing a whole 162 game season. At bat by at bat, and you want it to be fair. You want it to feel like you have a chance, and like some games you just don't. The game is already decided that you're not going to be the winner in that game, and that's so frustrating. But overall, we can't complain. We had a 91-win season as an expansion team, and we had a lot of fun getting to know some of these new players. We gave away contests. I still have everything to be shipped out. As you know, I don't have a car right now because my car got impounded by Border Patrol. So as soon as I get my car back, I'll make a trip up to the post office and mail them out right away. So hopefully that will be sooner than later. That's going to do it. Thank you all so much. We will be back in the fall to start the 1970 Seattle Pilots what if scenario, where we will not be going to Milwaukee. Milwaukee will not even exist in our world. So that's going to do it. Until next time, everyone, have a great day.